Hello, this is Waverly coming at you with another episode on Goodfella Podcast Media. Here I have Connor Loughran here. He's a local realtor here, St. Mary's community. How you doing, Connor?
Hey, Wade. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how you doing? How's it going? Let's see here. What was it like growing up here in our hometown?
St. Mary's it's a very interesting place. It's country, but we still have some metropolitan areas. We've got a good international influence from the Navy base. We got families that have been here for hundreds of years and people that just came in yesterday. So wow. It's a good mix.
It is a pretty good mix, man. How did you first get into lacrosse?
Lacrosse is something that my family has been involved in St. Mary's County for 50 years now. My dad actually, the way my family got down here was through St. Mary's College. Okay. So both my parents went to St. Mary's College and never left. My dad was on the first lacrosse team that they had at St. Mary's College, and then after he graduated, he started coaching. When I got to be about 8 or 9 years old, they started St. Mary's Youth Lacrosse Club, and I started playing there. Then went ahead and played in high school, and when I was in college, I came back and started coaching. So I coached at Leonardtown High School for a while, and then within the last 5 years, I've gone back to St. Mary's Youth Lacrosse, where I'm a coach and a board member, to try to give back to the community.
Wow, that's great, man. That's good to hear, man. What's the most rewarding part about coaching your young players and the lessons you try to teach beyond that?
It's about life. It really is. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's, 99% of kids are not going to go play professional sports.
Right.
But the life skills you get from it, from working as a team, listening to adults, collaboration with other people to get a job done. We try to really build more into the life skill side of it than, the wins and losses. Everybody likes to win, don't get me wrong. But just because you don't win in the game does not mean you're not winning in life.
Right.
And that's what we try to push to everybody is, a win might be a caught pass. You might have not caught a pass all year, or a goal scored, or something, or being a good teammate. There's so much more than the final score of the game.
That's true. Wow, that's powerful, man. That's powerful, man. How do you balance your time between being a lacrosse coach and working as a realtor?
It's a lot. It's kind of hard to balance sometimes. What I've done is I've created systems for myself. Mm-hmm. I use a lot of AI has been great since that came out. I use AI a lot to kind of streamline. I have an assistant who helps me with my administrative side of things. And I have some great coaches. So I've had some coaching mentors over the years, and I've kind of looked back, and not even lacrosse coaching mentors. A friend, RJ Bean, who is a former president of St. Mary's Little League. I got to sit in the stands and watch him at practice and during games for 5+ seasons, five or 6 years most likely, and just take bits and pieces of how he coaches and how he balances that. And it's a lot of early mornings, it's a lot of late nights. You kind of work it in shifts. You do a little bit of work, a little bit of coaching, a little bit of work, a little bit of coaching. You just fit it in.
Wow. And all that, and also being a father too.
Absolutely.
And a husband. So
yeah.
This is like, wow. What inspires you to get into real estate, and what's been the biggest challenge?
I think I really lucked out in real estate. I got in 2007.
Okay.
In 2007, the market was low. We had the real estate crash in 2008. The lowest point that I saw in the market in that crash was about December 2007. That's when we saw a fair amount of foreclosures and short sales, and the bottom had fallen out of the bucket basically.
Wow.
But the benefit was I graduated college in June. I was lucky enough to work my way through college. I graduated college with very little debt. And when I decided to get into real estate, I moved back in with mom and dad. And so I cut my bills down to a minimum so that I was able to make any little bit of money I made was more than I had the day before. So that the biggest challenge was getting started. But I did have ways to help myself. I couldn't do it now. I couldn't get started as a 41-year-old man with 3 kids and a house and a mortgage. But I mean, the first year I did, I made $10,000. That was like, you know, I couldn't have done that if I wasn't working or living at home.
Right.
So support from my family and my community has always helped.
That's big. That's real big, man. How does being from our hometown help you connect with your clients and players?
It helps so much. From a professional standpoint, what I like to do is I call myself the Southern Maryland source. So it's so much more than just buying or selling a home, finding somebody a rental. You know, there's been times where people say, "Hey, I'm moving to the area. I need a catering company," or "Hey, we want to go out to breakfast. What's a good restaurant? Do you have somebody that you know, I need to get my carpets cleaned. I need a barber. I need whatever it may be." My goal in my business has to become that resource for the entire community, so that if someone needs anything, I'm there for you. You know, the first name that pops up, and I get text messages every day from clients that are just saying, "Hey, you know, we need a septic system looked at, or a plumber, or whatever, or you know, anything. We're looking to get some hard crabs," something as simple as that, and I can point them in the right direction to get that all taken care of.
That's great. Yeah, them, Southern Maryland hard crabs, that's a staple here, St. Mary's County, Maryland, along with the stuffed ham too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's one lesson from sports that helps you succeed in real estate?
You're always going to have a failure, and it's how you treat that failure. You know, like I talked before about winning and losing, you're always winning, even when you're losing.
That's true.
My thing is, I take a look at, okay, sure, we lost, but why did we lose? Did we not prepare properly? As a coach, did we miss something? Maybe we didn't connect with the players the right way? But that's all something that you can learn from those setbacks, and then parlay that into life. So aside from career, you know, you and I both have our families and stuff like that, and you know that if you don't talk to your wife for a day or two, you're not going to be on the same page.
That's true.
You know, so communication is always the key. I tend to over communicate, but I'd rather have people know what's going on every second than have them in the dark. Because when you're in the dark, you start making your own conclusions, and very rarely do people make their own conclusions that are positive.
That's true. That's true, man. What does representing and giving back to our community mean to you today?
It's everything. Giving back, I mean, this is home. This is where I've been my entire life. This is, you know, I've had a great life. I've had people that have looked out for me. I've had friendships from all different aspects of life. I always say, you know, I always say hi to everybody. You know everybody, because you never know when somebody might need you or you might need somebody. Doesn't matter if they're the richest person, the poorest person, whatever their situation is, just be a good person. And that's helped me succeed in this community, and I try to give that back as much as possible.
And I know from experience, I've known you for well over 20 years now, so be servicing you, cutting your hair and everything. And one thing I know is that Connor always been Connor ever since then, you know.
Yeah,
Really,
this is me. This is what I am, you know.
that's true. Oh yeah. Who were some of your biggest influences growing up?
I would say, quite honestly, my dad's probably my biggest influence. You know, we always had the teenage time when we were butting heads. But magically, I can remember being like 18 or 19 years old, and the stuff that he was saying that I used to roll my eyes at, just kind of, it all clicked. You know, it boils down to be a good person. You know, treat others as you want to be treated. You know, people joke about the old way of doing things, but if you take the old sayings and stuff like that we've been raised on and actually think about them, it's true. You know, take care of people. You know, you're stuck on the side of the road, you see somebody on the side of the road, stop.
That's true.
See if they need your help, because you never know, you might be on that side, or it might be somebody you care about on that side.
True. That's true. That's so true, man. What are some of your goals moving forward as a coach, you know, relative and a person from our hometown?
My latest project that I'm working on is for the last just under a year, I've been a member of the Planning Commission for St. Mary's County. So the Planning Commission, what we do is we help plan the future for St. Mary's County from a building standpoint, from a development standpoint. It's been very eye-opening. You know, the lack of low-income housing in St. Mary's County, it's you know, at a very, very low level. Low-income housing, based on the numbers that I've seen, you're looking at homes that are under $260,000. And last time I checked, there was 21 in St. Mary's County total.
Wow.
Then when you look at affordable housing, affordable housing is a little different. That's a different price point. It's a little higher price point, so there's more affordable housing. St. Mary's County is very challenging when it comes to that because of our different income, the income disparity that we have.
Right.
So because we have the Navy base here and we have the federal dollars coming in, that does keep our income higher. A few years ago, St. Mary's County was one of the most millionaires per capita. So what we had going for that is we had the high federal incomes, but we also have lower population. You know, we're at 115,000 for St. Mary's County.
Wow.
So we have that high income, but still people that are working for themselves, people that are working, you know, McDonald's or the local stores or whatever it may be, they're not getting the government salaries.
Right.
So it makes it even tougher for them. A lot of times you've got one income households. You might have somebody that's sick, hurt, unable to work. So I would love to find a way to help families continue to buy a house, rent a house. It's tough right now too with the housing authority. There's a backlog so big with the housing authority that they're not even taking names to add to the list. You know, you think of the list is basically falling down on the floor. There's so many names.
Wow.
So finding those on top of the government cutting funds, there's just only so much money that can be given out. So it does make a challenge. So I mean, my big thing is to give back to the community any way possible. I've looked out where I don't necessarily want to say my expertise, but my experience is with housing. So that's where I feel I can benefit the community, is to try to assist people with housing and making connections with businesses and stuff like that, to help revitalize areas of the county. You know, we've got a great project going on right now with the old Millicent's Plaza. They are in the process of revitalizing that, and we're really hoping from the Planning Commission standpoint that is going to help kickstart the revitalization of Lexington Park. So we can get things moving in Lexington Park and kind of get rid of some of the stigmas that the park has. I saw something great today where people from out of the area that have been here for about 6 months said, you know, I moved from Baltimore down to Lexington Park, and I can tell you it's nothing crime-wise compared to Baltimore. So that's something we always need to think about is, you know, this is a bad area or something like that is all relative. It's all what you're used to.
That's true.
So there's always somebody that's got it worse than you in life.
That's true.
So just kind of keep an open mind and do your best for everybody.
That's true, man. Basically treat people how you want to be treated, man. You know, I tell you, man, the world is definitely, it's changed, especially, people suffer from, like not knowing about financial literacy and stuff like that. And, they kind of took that out of schools, like teaching how to write checks or how to balance a checkbook, open up a bank account, It's not the third, but
yeah, I mean, I think that would be something great to do, is have a community event or a different kind of workshop for people to help them, because a lot of people don't know.
right.
Some people just can't afford it. They're struggling so hard to just pay the rent and keep the lights on.
That's true.
They don't have an extra $10 a month, but something that I really wish I would have done when I was younger. I had people recommend to me when I got my first job to put $100 away a month in retirement. I didn't do it, and I regret it now. But that's one of those things where it's so tough to plan long term. So people can now $100. I mean, I just went to AutoZone and spent over $100 just on windshield wipers and air filters and stuff like that. Wow. So,
Yeah.
Ultimately it's $100 can compound it over 30 or 40 years. $100 a month can get you far.
Wow. Yeah. What do you know about IULs, or any type of like insurance? How can I put it? How can people like invest? Like similar like the 401ks and stuff like that, and IULs. Are you familiar with the IULs then?
Not too familiar with the IULs.
Okay.
Investing, I feel, is like in the stock market is just kind of one avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I've read is talked about diversify.
Right.
What I can tell you is the trend over the last probably 50 years, investments have appreciated. When you look at an investment, you need to look long term. So it doesn't matter what it does tomorrow unless you're going to sell tomorrow. And that's stock market, that's homes, that's, some people are into vehicles, and you might buy, a 66 Chevelle or something like that, and it might be worth $10,000 today, it might be worth $5,000 tomorrow, but then on Wednesday or Thursday it's going to be worth $12,000. It's long term. So you can't watch the day-to-day, kind of set it and forget it, knowing that it's there, and then check on it every once in a while, but it ultimately doesn't matter what it's worth until you go to sell.
Okay.
So.
That's true. What else was I ready to say? You were on a show. Was it about a year or so ago? What, HGTV?
Yeah, that was.
What show was that?
It was. Excuse me, I forgot all about it now. You just got me. It was.
Bargain Beach? Was it Bargain Beach?
Beachfront Bargain Renovations was the show.
Okay.
Interesting story with that is, so when you get contacted by the production companies, it's not HGTV that reaches out to you. So it was a group called Magilla Entertainment.
Magilla Entertainment?
And they do, looking more into them, they do like Moonshiners, they do a fair amount of shows that are on the Discovery networks. So it was interesting. I just deleted the email immediately. And I can remember pulling in the driveway at my house at the end of the day and saying, let me respond to that. So I remember I went into my trash on my phone and responded to that email. And we set it up. They did interviews with my clients. What they look for is somebody that's actively looking to buy a house or is under contract to buy a house. And we started that process in probably April, and by the time it was our turn to film, it was close to December.
Okay.
Or January, actually. I think they called to tell me we were chosen right before Christmas. And then we filmed, and it was cold out. So we were outside looking at waterfront properties in the cold, and we had to act like it was warm outside and stuff like that. We were taking our jackets and throwing them to the side, filming for a little bit, and then putting them back on and stuff like that. But it was a totally different experience than I've ever been in. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Great, man. It's real good to hear. Do you have any advice that you would give to the youth that maybe want to become a realtor or something one day, or
Just
into coaching?
my advice in general is just don't quit.
Just don't quit.
Don't quit. Everything is a learning experience. It can get frustrating. It can get demoralizing. But at the same time, take that failure, that setback, learn from it, and push on through. Nobody has ever succeeded by quitting. So if you want to, it might be something simple. It might be something as simple as, you walk in to apply for a job and you bomb the interview.
Right.
Well, then learn from that. And a lot of businesses I've found, if you go to them and just say, appreciate the opportunity, understand I didn't get the job, can you tell me what I can work on? People will take that little bit of emphasis and really, they'll think about it. They say, well, that kid wants to get better. And if you prove to somebody you want to get better, they're going to help you out. You're going to, I'm sure when you first started cutting hair, it wasn't the best,
No,
right?
It wasn't the best.
But
Yeah.
practice. You practice, you practice, you practice. Now you can probably do it with your eyes closed.
Yeah, I actually started out practicing on stuffed animals, man. And shaving the heads off my sister's Barbie dolls and stuff, man.
Sorry, Ron.
Yeah, sorry, Rhonda and Keisha, I apologize, But look where I'm at today, what I'm saying? I appreciate it, Connor, man. Before we get out of here, man, Commanders play tonight. You a Commanders fan, right?
Absolutely.
How you think we're going to do tonight, man?
I'd like to see Loughran back in there.
Yeah, me too, man.
I like that combo. I'm glad to see they were able to get him locked in
Yeah.
For the season.
Oh, yeah.
I think they can pull it off. I'd like to see, gotta respect Caleb Williams. He's a good player. He's from the DMV. So, shout out to George Mitchell, who's a St. Mary's County guy that now coaches at Gonzaga High School in DC.
Yeah.
He coached when Caleb Williams was at Gonzaga. But I'm going with the Commanders tonight.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe we can reach out to George Mitchell one day. See if he'd like to come on the podcast one day.
That'd be great. We can connect, make the connection.
Yeah. How can people contact you? Your credentials?
Sure. The best way to contact me is my phone number is 301-904-1760. My website is CONORL.com, and my email is CONOR@CONORL.com.
Thank you. But there you have it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Wave. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.